starting gun.
Pete Holmes, DrDrew.
Book. I was so much more inclined to work on my book after hanging out with another. Yeah, I guess that isn't very phenomenal, though. What are you talking about? It might be hard to put into words. I don't want
it's
to put
ineffable a little bit, but I'm just talking about, to me, the nature of consciousness is co-created, and that you need other brains to create something that we really call consciousness. And part of that is self-awareness. And
I would I would call it self-identity. Yeah,
it's self-consciousness is, I would argue, a piece of it, and the feral child's awareness and just reacting is also a piece of it. But this fully developed thing that that we all think we live in, I think, is a social construct, because they can't. Let's put it this way: they're having horrible trouble trying to figure it out, looking at a single skull. But I would argue skull, brain. But if they would start looking at other brains with it, I think it would evolve a sort of systems explanation for what we think is consciousness.
Yeah, I think we're out of my depth because when I had Penn Jillette on the podcast, and he's talking about they're working on a theory of consciousness, and I think most people are sort of like, what is that?
Well, there's many theories of consciousness. There are many different schools of,
Do you know any? I'd love to learn.
I listened to lots of podcasts about it, and all of them seem very.
But can I go ahead? All of them seem
give
very.
Give me Japan's version.
Well, he just said they're working on it.
Yeah.
It's fun because I am it sounds like your wife is. Like, I enjoy the basic wonder of the fact that we exist.
Yes.
I really trip out on that.
Yes.
And I will admit that as a believing type faith person that enjoys good myths and stories and ineffable things, I lean on the idea that we can't explain consciousness a lot, as do most good mystical traditions. You're Jewish, the God saying, I am that I am.
Mm-hmm.
He's just saying, I am consciousness. I am the experience of being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what God is. So when I think a lot of mystical people like to, I don't want to say raise our noses, but we do like to go, well, science can't explain consciousness. They can't recreate consciousness. They can't break down consciousness and build it again. All of that scientific model stuff.
Okay, so I think maybe it's my biological. I'm embedded in biological thinking and experiences and stuff, and so I sort of the thing I've been talking about is sort of a biological explanation for it, which is at its fundamental. Something I've not described to you in any detail, but I say the brain is embedded. There's a lot going on in our bodies and autonomic nervous system that we don't know shit about yet, and I would argue that even going back and forth between us sitting here in this porn set, whatever this is.
It's significant that you think this is a porn set.
is a lot of stuff going, information exchanging.
That's a miracle.
I'll give you that. It's crazy.
It's a miracle. I've talked to an AI robot, and I was like, "Fuck you." My brain hurt for 3 weeks afterwards.
Why?
I seriously had a headache for 3 weeks because it was so frustrating. For my perfect, elegant instrument to talk to this fucking turd joke, the height of technology, so much so that it was a guest on a talk show. We didn't air it because it was so bad. I was like, how's it going? And it was like, it was like talking to Siri. And at the end of it, my instrument was smoking and angry that it couldn't do what we're doing so effortlessly.
Ever heard of the uncanny valley?
No.
There's a thing in robotics called the uncanny valley, and I believe it has something to do with, again, our evolutionary adaptation to illness or something, that the closer a robot, we'll call this AI robot a robot.
Yeah, sure.
The closer it gets to humanoid, the more we like it, until it gets really close, and then we hate it.
Really?
We can't stand it. We just recoil, like we're disgusted. It's called the uncanny valley. We fall into this valley where we're disgusted by it.
That sounds like a Philip K. Dick book.
The Uncanny Valley.
That's perfect. And it explores that idea. That's not what was going on here. She would often well, I mean, this sounds very human when I say it, but you would just bring something up and then she'd just be going like, baseball was invented and, and you're just like, okay, maybe this is a human, but I hate this. I hate this human. It is not listening to me. Right. And we're back to mothers.
Maybe that's why you hated it. I don't know.
Is your mother alive?
Don't go on.
Have you taken psychedelics?
I have not. I worry too much about brain damage from that stuff. But have
you seen that?
Have I seen them?
Yeah. Have you seen that as a doctor?
Oh yes.
Really?
Horrible. Oh yeah.
Tell me everything.
I treated like people from Joe Cocker, Mad Dogs and Englishmen. You know what I mean? You ever seen that movie?
You mean you treated Joe Cocker?
No, people in that tour group that went around with him and did tons of LSD, and they ended up in nursing homes.
Really?
It was really damaging, yeah.
Whoa.
So it just seeing a lot of that, a lot of severe mood disturbances and stuff, it makes me scared. But I'm a huge advocate for their therapeutic use.
Yeah. MDMA, I think, is on the way.
All of them. If we could understand the risk reward ratio better by studying it, which we're just beginning to.
Yeah.
Like if I had an end of life problem, I'm convinced I would probably do a mushroom trip or maybe an LSD trip because the data on that is really good on people's anxiety about dying. Really good.
Yeah, very good.
And if I had PTSD, I think MDMA is something that I would really think about. And so there's a lot of good uses that are worth the risk.
Right.
Just otherwise, me sitting here, I'm not sure it's worth it.
But I mean, I wonder if there's evidence of just like using it once or twice that people
you don't know.
Yes, there's
been weird stuff, but you don't know. You just don't know. We just don't know. The studies haven't been done yet. Yeah. That's what drives me crazy.
Yeah,
and whether or not, which is a different issue, is whether or not it would open the door. Like Duncan Trussell's a friend of mine. Do you know Duncan?
Hey man, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've had lots of talks about this, and his idea is that the psychedelics take you up in an elevator, open the doors, show you a higher plane, and then close the door. You go back down again.
Yeah.
And then you have to find another way to get back up there, like through meditation, whatever, in a more permanent way.
Yeah, which is you could be going at those experiences. Clearly, they unlock something in your brain. That is there. I guess I'm sort of with Duncan's theory because I've had psychedelic experiences while sober, not like full, unstoppable, vivid, three-dimensional, invasive, experiences. But I've gotten close to those.
Not
places.
on drugs.
Not on drugs. Yeah.
Meditating or.
Yeah, that's the ticket, man. That sort of stuff, meditation and stillness and
you listen to Sam Harris's podcast and stuff?
No, I don't. It's been recommended to me.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
You'll love him. He's very much in that zone. I always wonder if you had to spend a lot of time to get there, a lot of work to do it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the obstacles. I think it's a rather interesting problem. You'd want to talk about risk reward. I think it's so interesting. You want to get metaphysical about it or woo-woo about it.
Yeah.
Ram Dass would say that LSD, God came to the West as LSD because he was like, these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like we're just materialists and we want to push a button.
So
because
Ram
what you're
Dass
saying is we don't want to go in caves and we don't want to fast and we don't want to
I don't want to do all that work. Yeah.
Well, it's just true. So it's a strange type of grace that it's like, well, okay, here's a shortcut, like here's a cheat code.
Yeah.
That's sort of how I feel about it. Because even as someone who has those experiences, it's very hard for me to sit down and meditate sometimes.
Huh.
So I get it.
Was it life-changing?
For sure. But then, you go back.
Yeah.
That's the sine wave of this game we're all playing. Is you can have those peak experiences where you're just like, oh, fuck, I get everything. I get the interconnectedness of all beings. And then next, you're eating fucking Captain Crunch.
Right.
You have diarrhea. And you're just like, my life is bad. And I'm writing a text to my mother where I'm like, I'm so excited.
See, it's funny that you describe it that way because seeing so much illness and reality of the human experience, it's too real for me almost.
Which part?
The reality, our biological reality, the reality of the human experience
of suffering
and the range of things that happens to us.
See, Val and I were just talking about this. She had an experience where she took some psychedelics, and I really think she wiped out her serotonin.
You can do it.
She did.
Yeah.
And it was a tricky time, and she was really despondent. And it was definitely chemical. It was definitely like, we shouldn't have taken that, and it was bad. And she really feels betrayed. I was talking to her, and I was like, it's almost like her house got broken into, and now it's hard to feel safe in that house again.
Geez.
But we're working on it.
But this is the kind of risk that, I worry about.
No, I understand. And I like telling that story because I'm very pro psychedelics, and I like to include...
Finding which harmonica to use.
There's so many.
Coming down from the ceiling.
This wires 10,000 times a minute.
To get her over to my crib and do that night thing. I'm in love with a stripper.
He just switched harmonicas.
She climbing that pole and I'm in love with a stripper. She playing. I'm not going nowhere, girl, I'm staying. I'm in love with a stripper. She climbing, she rolling. She climbing that pole and I'm in love with a stripper.
All right, John. Gina's going out of her mind. thing I've ever seen in my
It's
life.
great in person, isn't it?
Oh my god, that was like such a dopamine rush.
Gene, have you ever had a more extreme reaction?
This is going right now, and for 3 weeks off of that.
I watch Rock Instagram videos before I go.
He's
The Rock
fired
is
up,
the
too.
most inspiring motherfucker. It's 4 a.m, and I'm here in the gym in Miami throwing up steals. You better watch. Make sure you watch what was dealt to you, or you'll get trapped. Like he just
Super passionate.
I want to be his best friend.
Yeah.
If you could, like I was thinking about this last night. Stanhope and Johnny Depp are best friends. If you could get a best friend, like major celebrity, just like to be their best friend.
Dude, this town was waiting for you.
Yeah.
You're just like, I want a celebrity best friend. What's the matter with Tom? This guy just bought a $3 million house. That's not good enough for you? I want to get into the 8-figure house guy.
It would be so great.
He does though. The thing
Hey,
is with
Angelina
Bert.
just filed for divorce. I bet Brad's looking for
What?
a drinking buddy.
Really? There you go. That would be
Cool
Bert's
motherfucker.
dream.
He's into motorcycles.
Dude, I love
He
motorcycles.
still has his grandfather's shotgun. I hate that I know this so much about the guy, but I want to have abs when I'm in my 50s. The 40s and 30s didn't work out so well.
Did you just read Variety?
Huh?
Did you just read Variety?
No, my wife texted me that.
They're getting divorced?
Yeah.
Dude, Brad, I Googled, when I started getting into motorcycles, I would Google pictures of him riding and buy the shit he was wearing. Those gloves, they're right over there. I bought those gloves, those Motostucca gloves, because Brad had them. And
Really?
They just look bad as fuck. T-shirt.
Until you wear them.
Until I wear them, and they're
go clear some land.
oversized.
You saw that? I saw that one picture. He's riding that bike. He's got the suicide shifter. It's
Yeah.
just, and he's fucking. Dude, that guy, I mean, he just,
Yeah.
they just don't make him like that.
No.
That's why all these fucking people, kind of doing a bit about this, these fucking people that are bitching about body issues and shit, it's just like, dude, until they stop making people who look like that, like, they're going to get those roles, and they should.
Yeah.
I am a full fucking believer in that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you stink it, if you can't act, but like the best looking fucking people, without a doubt, you know. And I'm fine with. I've accepted that I'm not that fucking. I'll go. I don't know. I'll be the guy that Brad Pitt shoots at a movie. I don't give a shit if I'm in it, right? The
Yeah,
fuck do I
of
care?
course.
He would be a great best friend.
Yeah.
Like, especially going through a divorce, and he just calls you up, and he's like, hey, I got an offer to go up to Crow Territory and ride motorcycles for the weekend. You want to come? I got the jets leaving in like 5. And then I go, hey, can I bring Bill? He's like, Bill Burr? Sure.
Somebody sent me a bottle of wine.
Hey, I
they
wanna
found
go.
at the bottom of
Okay.
an ocean that's worth $10,000 a sip. You want to kill this thing tonight?
Johnny Depp used to, this is gossip, but he used to get these really great bottles of wine.
By the way, we've really just turned into like what's that guy? What's that?
TMZ?
No, not
No,
TMZ.
this is like the
Andy
Bravo,
Cohen.
Andy Cohen.
Cohen
Yeah.
show.
Oh,
Which
is that what it
which
does?
is that's
Yeah.
chick ESPN. That's chick sports.
Totally.
Really? I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, it's
Watch
all
What
the
Happens
teams,
Live.
It's all the Real Housewives. The show fucking. I mean, God bless him. He's made all that money, but it drives me fucking crazy.
I like the gossip stuff. I like the celebrity stuff. You don't like it. Steve Byrne doesn't like it.
No, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that like. It's just when you're watching it every night, when you're coming home to it every night,
Oh,
and
it
he's
depresses
just
me.
and he's just going like, so in episode 2, Mandy said that the reason you don't have a man, and then they just start screaming and yelling at each other, and I
depresses
always
me.
give my wife shit. I go, I thought you were a feminist. Why would you want to see women just screaming and yelling at each other like all Botoxed up?
Yeah, I can't look. I can't look through Instagram too
sometimes
much.
I just like
look
to
through
not
Facebook
think.
or go like Us Magazine or stuff like that. Because I just see that life and I go, I don't know. I guess I thought I would have a fucking yacht by now.
Really?
And it's so not in my cards.
Yeah, but you're also like
rent a fucking, just rent a boat. Rent a boat, go from Marina Del Rey up to Santa Barbara and come back, and then you know what? Then you leave it.
Yeah.
Do you know how much those? Let's say you had the fucking money. Owning a, do you know how much fucking money? Just a crew alone is going to cost you like $600-700 a year.
Yeah. Yeah, but
do you fantasize about that a lot?
I for a long time I was really wanted an island. Like I was like I need an island. Like I think I saw Richard Branson.
Yeah.
And I was like that's where my direction's going.
Then I'll be happy.
Then I'll be happy. Yeah. You know what's so funny is I didn't even realize that I should probably run these goal dreams past Leanne. Like I just assumed
Say
she'd
'em
want
out
to
loud?
live on an island too.
Yeah.
She has no interest
Is that
in being
the
on an
technical
island.
name for them?
What?
Gold dreams.
Yeah, gold dreams.
These are my gold dreams.
I want a fucking beach bar. I want to retire on an island. We do stand up there sometimes.
Do you ever fantasize or think about not working anymore? Like,
oh yeah.
So because I wonder with you,
when I'm 70, I want to be out.
Is that the out age?
Let me rephrase that. If I want to be out, I can't.
Do you think so? Through the 60s,
wait, say that again. Say that again. If you want to be out, you can't.
Like in other words,
I can't. Like I'll have the option. I can keep going if I want. I just don't want to be standing on the stage with some mustard stained tuxedo when I'm 80. Just going, hey, your kids don't understand or whatever. Just being this, and people just being like sad.
Yeah.
Starting to. I don't want to be that guy unless I just feel like I have to do something or I'm gonna die. But I just financially wouldn't want to be in that position. But it's just with the bankers out there running wild, loaning money that doesn't even fucking exist, eventually that's going to topple. And all you can do is just hope it doesn't happen in your lifetime and just keep going with the lie. Like, hey, you gave me this and I wrote these numbers on a piece of paper. So that gets us stuff, right?
That's my favorite bill.
What were you going to say?
No, I had to get away from that bill because that bill fucking was starting to be like, can't. You can't keep going that because you're going to annoy everybody around you.
Yeah.
There's no solution, and all it's going to do is freak you out and drive you away from your loved ones.
Do you think of not whatever it is? Do you think of a goal number in terms of if I have that, then I'm definitely set for for not working? Like, do you think in terms like that?
I'm just now starting to think as far as I mean, I've been really frugal. I mean, I haven't blown any money, but But
no, I think if somebody and not that I know you real well, but I think if stranger were to hang out with you, they would never guess that you're as successful as you are.
Thanks.
It wasn't, but it wasn't. It's not a compliment.
It started off like, wow, man, this is going to be really.
Thanks.
They would think you're just some fucking guy that just
but you
never mounted the shit.
You make an
look
effort.
how you dressed.
It's
Look at look how much you love the pretzel rods. I mean, you just don't seem like.
But I'm saying that you're
Tom, you should just pull the reserve chute, dude. The first one didn't open. You're gonna bounce here in a second.
But you're so successful, and I'm saying that you're modest, man. That's all I'm saying. That you're.
Well, no, you don't. You're not a big car leasing guy. Like you don't drive fancy cars. You like your truck.
You
like
don't come
don't,
I got a 68 F100. I redid the whole fucking thing. Shifts 3 in a tree. What's the shit?
Yeah.
That's not a little fancy?
Yeah. Tom just put
I
a
think I have a little flair. Jesus. Nah, I'm kidding. No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I think it's. Well, yeah, you're also sitting in the nosebleed sections at stadiums when you could probably get a box.
You could get a fucking field pass.
Box, most overrated thing ever?
I agree with the box.
It's hard.
I don't like the box.
Wow. I will not be inviting you guys
Shit
to
food.
Brad and my box.
Shit food.
Oh,
shit food.
Boxes are
weak
the
fucking
best.
booze.
I don't like
and
the
then
box.
You don't feel the energy of the fucking crowd, and you're just in this poor excuse for a fucking living room. And then, when the game and people are talking and they're trying to make deals and shit, the box. And every time you get in there, you don't know 80% of the fucking people in there.
That's the worst part of the box. That's the worst part. If you could have your own box and you dictate who's in there with you, it changes. But when you're in there with
you
a
still
bunch
don't feel
of
like you're at the game.
corporate guys, guys that got the ticket from somebody, and I work at this fucking financial center.
I can pitch it the
You're
other
in a
direction.
giant walk-in closet,
Separate entrance.
The wings stink.
Yeah, no.
Parking, concierge service. Oh, Mr. Kreischer, how are you doing today? Let's hope the Rams win. Oh, I could fucking go for that.
I mean, the thing about you is
I realized the other day.
You can do that at home with a flat screen TV.
I know.
Dude, and you can do what's great about watching the game at home if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. My thing is, if I'm going to the game, I want to be with fucking real fans.
Yeah.
I want to be pretty buzzed. I want the game to be a fucking big game. I'm going to see some future Hall of Famers. This game means something. I'll go to that game. But then, other than that, it's just I'd rather be sitting at home with some friends. We can eat whatever we want. We can drink whatever we want for as long as we want. There's no lines. No lines to the fucking bathroom. Nobody standing up in front of you. None of that shit.
We went to the.
You can sit down like Kaepernick during the fucking national anthem. You don't have to get up. You're home, right?
We did. We went to the Rams. We had season tickets to the Rams, and we went to the Rams game this weekend. And my kids and my wife were like, "We're staying till the end. We want to watch them win." And I was like, I don't think you guys have ever been to a stage. 90,000 people in here right now. And when
they're all going to get off into Vermont Ave.
we were in the parking garage for an hour. The parking garage wasn't moving. It was like insane. I was like,
"Oh no! If you don't leave, you just stay. You just fire the grill. You fire the grill back up again."
I said to them, "I go. How about we
just rakes it across
like
He's
an animal.
savage."
Who would you be your celebrity best friend?
Probably Angelina. No, I would want.
You know who I think you would be good
That'd
with?
be great. She had like a vial of his blood around her neck, just like totally got into Tom. Tom, what is it about you? Hey, Bill, I told you got no swagger, man. People would never know that you're successful. I can't. When you carry yourself like you got a $3 million house, even when you don't.
Shaffir. Sam Tripoli.
Some of them, I think it's funny when they intentionally lie and they don't even do that, cover their tracks. Like after Trump got elected.
To get you going one way?
No, but the Keystone Pipeline happened. I love quoting this one because this is one I noticed on my own. You know, the Keystone, they were like hosing down like Indians.
Native Americans.
And they showed a picture of that. And this was like December 3rd, let's say. And it said, "This is Trump's America." And it was like, oh, it's still Obama's America.
Yeah, for sure,
Trump
dude.
He didn't do anything yet.
That's my fight with everybody.
He didn't do anything yet. And you're putting in my mind, yeah, what Trump does is awful. I was like, this is the other guy's stuff.
For sure, dude.
There's no question about it.
Comedy got worse under Obama. I'm fucking sorry. Building 6, 9/11. That was the whole thing. Like, I get in fights with people like when I have political talks in LA, I get in fights with people. I go, "You're trying to convince me evil started 2 years ago," and it didn't. Trump
right.
Trump is just a continuing policy. 8 years of fucking Obama, which is most likely a continuing policy of the fucking 8 years of Bush, which was a continuing policy the 8 years of fucking Bill Clinton, man.
Yeah, it's all just them. It's all just them doing it. Bill Clinton deregulated the banks. I'm sorry, this is crazy. 6 World Trade Center, Wikipedia. It's showing all the overhead footage.
No, go to the picture. Are you looking at the pictures? Yeah, look at that, dude. They bottomed it out. They fucking hollowed it out.
So you don't see the actual building in there. Best kept 9/11 second, Building 6.
Nobody talks about Building 6. There's a very famous...
we found a giant hole, new giant hole found... Okay.
There's a famous podcast, conspiracy podcast called The Higher Side Chats with a friend of mine named Greg Carwood. Yeah. So I had him on. I go, "So we want to talk 9/11, we want to talk Building 6. He goes, "You mean Building 7? I go, "Oh, no, Building 6. He didn't even know about that. That's how well it's hidden. Then nobody talks about it.
Oh, no, Building 6. Is any of the buildings still there?
I don't know.
I think not, right?
But 3 out of the 5 buildings were accounting offices.
Southwest corner of 6... This was it after 9/11. That's southwest corner, still standing. Still it wasn't rubbled down.
There's so much shady shit.
Wow. What else is there? You don't believe in vampires and shit, do you?
I believe anything's possible. Interdimensional shit. I believe in all that, dude. I love it.
My thing is, I think anything is, if it's something is possible, that means in all likelihood it's happening because of sheer numbers and stuff. So that's why with the corruption in the government, it's like if you allow a guy to fucking take advantage of something, maybe this guy won't, maybe that guy won't. But if you put enough guys, like congressmen, let's say, you give them all the power to just to shoot somebody only in self-defense and have it completely covered up.
Right.
You know? And it's like, no, I don't know of any congressman that would do that. But, like, you know, over the next 20 years, you know, hundreds of new congressmen, yeah, somebody would probably just do that and cover it up. And just
for sure.
Without, like, self-defense.
Our system is broke. We're asking people who benefit from the system to fix the system. Are you watching Making a Murderer at all?
No.
Making a Murderer 2. You are watching what is going on.
They made that guy into a murderer again?
Yeah, they made him to another murderer. But basically, it's showing how the Wisconsin court system realizes that if they release these 2 guys, they're going to have to pay out so much out of their asses.
Like Benghazi, so they can't release them now because now they're so mad at us.
Yeah, they're
not
literally...
Not Benghazi. What's the Cuban jail?
Fucking, what is it called?
Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
And they go like, well, a lot of them didn't do anything, but if we release them now, they're so angry at us that they'll be terrorists. And like,
sure.
Wait, a non-terrorist will not... But you put him in jail.
You made him into a terrorist.
And also, you didn't make him into a terrorist. Although maybe. You made him very angry and put him around...
I would be like, dude, I got no problem. Just let me go.
And put him around other terrorists. Like,
yeah.
their odds went up.
Yeah.
But still, they might be like, I've never done anything to anybody. You can't just say I'm a terrorist now.
Dude, this guy Steve Avery's gotten so fucked. And, dude, they just won't release him because they know Wisconsin's going to pay out their asshole.
Really?
Out their asshole.
So why don't they release him? It's already been proven.
Because, dude, they don't want to pay out. Dude, he's going to sue them for 2 times being framed. The first time they admitted he was wrong, and then they framed him again.
Wow.
They're just cold-blooded, and all of them are in on system. You have people whose job it is to protect, and that goes back to Kavanaugh. Now we got to.
Do you think they have the cure for AIDS, but the pharmaceutical companies won't let them release it?
Yeah, I go to a 12-step program. It's all gay guys and me, and they all have HIV, and they tell me all the time. It's like right now we're seeing basically the end of AIDS.
Why?
Because if you get on your medications, you become undetectable, which means they can't really give it to anybody, which means. And now these young twinks are all on this fucking
preventable shit.
Yeah, where they can't get it.
So it's forget the cure, keep it around, and keep people buying the drugs to make you not get it.
But it's going to die off with these older gay guys dying off from natural age.
And then they'll release the cure?
And then the young guys are all on that shit that they got where they can't get it anymore, so it's coming to an end. Like they've ran the course.
Oh, right.
They've made as much money off it as they probably could off of having keeping people on it forever. And now somebody invented something that's like, okay, now it's time to let it go. That was systematic too. I mean, like the invention of AIDS.
You think invented?
Oh yeah, there's documents that show. No, nobody fucked a monkey.
Do you worry about your I mean, somebody fucked a monkey.
Somebody has. Someone's fucked everything.
Chicken fuck.
Someone fucked a rock.
Neal Brennan, Joe Rogan. Neal Brennan, Joe Rogan.
To learn everything? I do.
Who knows? You say that, but what if after this is way better?
It won't. There is no after this.
You don't know that.
I don't.
You're talking nonsense.
I get a feeling.
You're talking complete nonsense.
I get a sense.
With just sense based on what?
It's just that there was nothing. It's going back to where I was, which is before 73. Nothing.
I don't think any of it ends. I think it changes. I think it all becomes something completely different, and energy never dies off. It just moves on to another state. And I think that the whole cycle of the universe, we want to think of it as like there was a birth to the universe and there's going to be an end to the universe. That's why they think of the Big Bang. There was at one point in time, it was smaller than the head of a pin, and there was a giant burst. I think it's never ending. And I think that our ideas of it are all based on our own biological limitations. And I think the biological life is a trip. I think it's an experience. I think the biological life doesn't necessarily represent what is possible in reality. And I think it's one stage of existence. And I think we probably had other stages of existence. I think our real true consciousness, it gets wrapped around language, and it gets wrapped around culture, and it gets wrapped around personal experiences and how they interpret them and how they remember shit that other people have figured out and written down. But at the end and the root of that could take place in 100,000 million different forms. It doesn't have to exist as a human animal making noise with your mouth. That consciousness could exist in other dimensions. That consciousness, whatever the fuck it is that's at the underlying the underlying energy that makes the body move in certain directions and choose to manipulate objects, whatever the fuck that is, at the root of all that, could exist as a dolphin, could exist as a killer whale, could exist as some really smart octopus. Who the fuck knows? I think for sure what we are right now is an evolving species. It's changing. It's becoming something different.
Look, man, I hope you're right. I hope, because I am going to die.
Yes.
I just hope there's an afterplay.
I think we're becoming something different, and along the way, I think whatever the fuck it is that the human race is going to eventually evolve into, I think we're on some sort of a crazy cycle. That's what I think. I think we're on some sort of an infinite loop cycle. And I think our limited interpretation of like people dropping off the face of the earth and disappearing and leaving our lives leads us to believe that this is it. This is this one thing, and this is it. You breathe, and one day your heart will stop beating, and then it ends. Maybe not. Maybe you're a fucking caterpillar that's going to become a butterfly.
A raindrop.
Maybe you're some weird fucking animal that travels dimension to dimension in completely different forms. We've seen that happen in physical state in life. We've seen caterpillars and salamanders and all these fucking different things become a completely different thing. We've seen them physically metamorph and change. Why would we assume that consciousness couldn't do exactly the same thing? Why wouldn't we assume that reality can't do exactly the same thing? I think it's super possible that we're some crazy technological caterpillar and that we're going to one day press some
Like I said,
fucking
man.
button.
I hope you're right.
And all of our experiences of life and death and love and infatuation and fascination and appreciation and all those different things are really it's just more motivation for you to keep moving forward and forward and forward to push this technological machine that society runs on. The real underpinnings, what's really impacting the universe. It's not People magazine and Kim Kardashian's ass, but that is there to distract you long enough to keep buying the new droids. And the more technology we create and the more minerals we mine and the more we push the boundaries of what we can do and control in the universe, the more we get closer to whatever the fuck we're becoming, completely locked into an addiction with our cell phones and our computers. If I'm online, if I'm like in a hotel and the internet goes out for an hour, I fucking panic.
Yeah.
It's hell.
I started doing a joke the other day about how my phone has completely turned me into a dick. I'm a fucking asshole. Like,
I mean, as far as like being rude in conversations,
just fucking like fuck you, companion. I got everyone else in front of me, and I'd rather spend time with them. I have enough girls' pictures on my phone. I was telling Red Band that I could publish 2 months of a magazine.
Girls like send you pictures?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Because they know you're single?
Yeah. Girl, I mean, it's not just like out of nowhere. It's like girls I'm chatting to, and it's over years. But I'm saying like if I told somebody if my phone turned up,
Joe Rogan, Bryan Callen.
Count me in.
Because, I mean, think about how much funny shit would happen. There would be a lot of people angry at us for what we're doing, though.
Well,
a lot of people would be like, you're hunting.
Nobody has ever mixed comedy and hunting, so they should all come.
No one's ever mixed cage fighting and comedy either.
That's true.
But apparently that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. This works too.
I'm excited. So where are we going hunting? We might do...
Most likely Alaska.
Really?
Yeah.
But are we going to hunt hog there?
No. If we do it between now and August, we'll be going to Alaska.
Hey, but
we could go and hunt bears, which I didn't want to do for a while until I started watching all these Alaska shows.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I had a misconception about bears. First of all, I had a misconception about whether or not they're delicious. And apparently, black bears, they taste really good.
Yeah.
And people love them.
Well, according to his book, depending on what they've been eating, but
yeah,
they're eating blueberries. It tastes literally like blueberries.
Yeah, so you want to go where the blueberries are, and you shoot them in the spring, and apparently they're delicious.
Yeah.
I was not into, I'm definitely still not into shooting anything that I'm not going to eat.
Yeah, I don't want to kill a bear, though. I like bears.
Why do you like bears?
I don't know. I just like them.
Bears can suck my dick. I don't like bears at all.
Why?
Because they're assholes. Bears don't give a fuck about you.
Bears are assholes.
Bears have blank eyes, and they would eat your face if you stood still.
Bears
Not only that, bears don't even kill you. Do you know what bears do? They just start eating.
Yeah.
They just start eating.
Oh, just don't be in their territory.
That's a tricky thing with omnivores. Like chimps, same thing. They just start eating.
Well, chimps, I talked to the guy at San Diego Zoo, and I said, you don't have any chimps? He goes, nah, just bonobos. I said, well...
Wait a minute, they have bonobos in captivity where?
In bonobos, I think they do, in San Diego Zoo.
Really?
Yep. And,
that's interesting. You sure they're bonobos?
Yep.
Well, for some reason, I thought that no one has bonobos in captivity.
Bonobos are amazing. They're
because
they're matriarchal.
Yeah, but they fuck so much. That's why I thought
that's
that no
what
one has
He said that bonobos are really sexual. He said chimpanzees solve everything with violence. He said that the first thing you'll see with chimps is they'll have scarred up wrists because the minute they get in a fight, they cover their genitals because they go for each other's balls, so you can't breed. He said that's why they go for the face and the genitals and your hands. They want to scar you up. They want to finish you.
Yeah, this is one of the. I guess the San Diego Zoo is one of the first zoos to have them.
Yep, I went and saw it.
They're quite possibly the most intelligent primates on Earth, other than humans, and they have bonobos. Well, that you're gonna watch a fuck show if you watch them, because if you go there, all they do is fuck.
Yeah, well, it's a female-dominated society, you know.
Yeah, it's a matriarchal society, but it's also completely orgiastic. Like everybody fucks everybody except the mother doesn't fuck the son. That's the only. That's the only
line they draw.
That sucks.
Yeah, if your mom's hot, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
But I guess you could just fuck everybody else. The good news is you can fuck your dad.
Okay.
So,
good news, everybody.
Good news, everybody.
Can you imagine Father's Day, how horrible that would be?
Bears are beautiful to look at and everything, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I think they're beautiful, but bears are ruthless, heartless, emotionless monsters. That's what they are.
All
and
animals
for the most,
are, for that matter.
For the most part, they're not attacking you, so our opinion of them is based on that. But the reality is they can attack you. Yeah. And when they attack you, they might as well be a fucking werewolf. It might as well be some monster from a movie that doesn't exist because it's just as terrifying.
Well, since you said that we were going to go hunting in Alaska in August, I think like 20% of my brain every single day, and that's a large percentage, is constantly occupied with the hybrid possibilities of a polar bear / grizzly bear, thank you, global warming, coming into our camp. Because remember, polar bear will stalk and hunt you, your meat. And so I'll be sleeping in your tent, just so you know, and I'll be sleeping with a handgun.
Polar bears are the only bears that are completely carnivorous. Yeah. There's no vegetable matter where they live. There's no fruits. There's no anything, and they don't. So their bodies are not designed to process that. Yeah. And they're also the only mammal that hunts people actively, automatically, right from birth. Right. They see people and they're like, "I'll eat that." Yep. Whatever's moving, they're like, "I'll eat that."
Well, they had this baby polar bear. It was small, and it became it was probably 3 months, 5 months, whatever. They couldn't put that into a cage with the other polar bears. Not in a million years.
They would eat it.
They would eat it right away.
Right away. They're cannibals.
Yeah.
They live in the most ferocious environment. Grizzlies are cannibals too. Grizzlies kill their pups all the time when shit goes bad, when they're running out of food.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they kill their cubs.
Wow.
And they eat them. Yeah.
That's
they
hard.
eat their own babies. They can suck it, okay? I'll shoot them right in their stinky heart.
Not me. I like bears.
No.
You
say that, but if a bear was trying to kill you,
that's different.
Yeah, you would realize.
I'll have my guns at the ready.
Team people, bitch. Okay, I'm not saying you should go out and shoot grizzlies. I don't want to shoot grizzlies because apparently grizzlies you can't eat.
Oh, yeah.
They don't taste good. I guess it's because of they're such predators.
Yeah.
Which is weird because mountain lions are 100% carnivorous and you can eat them and apparently they're quite tasty.
Actually, according to Steve Brinella's book, they are. You got to cook them for a long time.
Mountain lion?
And it's a real crapshoot. A lot of times they're not tasty.
Oh, really?
And if you eat, and sometimes people, in eating a grizzly, or if they've been eating fish, it's going to taste like fish. Yeah. It's going to be like.
Yeah, but I like fish.
Well, yeah, but apparently it's not a good tasting fish.
It's like
the other thing about bear that he talks about in his book is you have to cook it really, really well because you'll get trichinosis and other things because they eat rotting meat. If they come across, deer, caribou, they'll eat
Sure.
it.
Yeah,
So,
the same with hogs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is actually one of the reasons you don't eat carnivores. They always say that you're not supposed to eat carnivores because of that. They carry parasites.
Isn't that odd? Because you eat fish.
Yeah.
And fish are 100% carnivores.
Yeah.
That's most of them. I mean, I guess a few of them eat vegetables. Those little pussies.
It's the exception.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, think about lobster. Lobster, they eat nothing but rotten meat at the bottom of the ocean, and they're delicious. Yeah. They're like the best tasting thing ever.
Well, a lobster and I think shrimp are related to lice and other insects.
They're related to roaches.
When I read that, I was like, oh.
We found out they were related to roaches on Fear Factor when a guy had an allergic reaction. He was eating roaches. He was allergic to shellfish.
Whoa.
Yeah, same thing. Same enzymes, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, you look at it, I mean, it's real fucking similar.
Yeah,
a crab is like a thick-shelled bug.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
I mean, it's the same fucking thing. Same as a spider.
Delicious.
Apparently, spiders taste good. Like
really?
Big, fat tarantulas, very crab-like.
Really?
Yeah. If you cook them right.
Yeah, but what about all the spines?
I don't know.
I guess you burn them off.
Yeah.
Singe those fuckers off.
Yeah, because on tarantulas, they have those little weird microscopic little fibers that dig into your skin.
One of the things I took from that trip, being out there in the middle of the Badlands, is how fucked you would be if you had to go hunt. First of all, if you were by yourself because you'd freeze to death, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. Secondly, if you had to go hunt your own food, you'd be out there cold and hungry as shit without a prayer.
It's hard, man. And even, I mean, what we were at was at one point in time an ocean. And it was like really
clay.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of like vegetable matter. So it was really weird the way you were walking around like these gigantic empty hills all over the place. And you'd get to the top of one and it gets really freaky. When you get to the top of them and then you look out at how big this area where there's no people is. Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievably
and it's cold
vast.
As fuck.
Yeah, and you can fall.
And you can fall. And by the way, there are cactuses everywhere. So just at the very minimal, you're going to be dealing with a pain in the ass.
Yeah. it's so harsh.
Yeah.
And that's why when Bryan and I were there, Steve Rinella explained to us that this is where Lewis and Clark had gone. We actually camped in the same campground our first night where Lewis and Clark had stayed.
Yep.
And a bunch of people tried to live out there. They tried to what's called homesteading, where they give you a piece of land, and if you can farm it for like a couple of years or whatever.
They tried to grow like dry wheat, I think it's called, and they just couldn't even do that.
Shit, it's mud.
Yeah.
Everything is just gooey bottom of a lake mud.
You just end up just hating life out
Yeah.
there.
It was the Great Western Inland Sea, I think it was called, and there used to be dinosaurs there, and it's a really freaky
even
place.
Lewis and Clark, when they went through that area, I read, didn't see any Native Americans.
Yeah.
No Blackfeet or anything because they couldn't live there.
Yeah, apparently they would visit it every now and then on hunting trips and then go back, but that's it. And that's, when you get into like a sparse sort of a situation, like, God damn, we got to go find those fucking crazy deer in the Badlands.
Yeah.
Because those deer are just running around. There's not that many of them, and there's the occasional mountain lion that's running around jacking them.
It's crazy.
We found mountain lion shit. Did you see any of that up there?
No.
It was fat ropes of
Really?
hair.
That's weird.
Yeah, like shit with hair in it.
Yeah.
That's when you know something's been jacking people.
Yep.
Or jacking deers, rather.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a harsh place, man. If you had to live there, I'm not really sure you could.
No,
Even
I don't think
if
you
all
could.
of us, the guys that were there,
You
if
know,
we had to
even-
like
Condos.
Even living in like if you look at the New Guinea, the like in New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, where people have been living for forever, they're mostly malnourished, always were, because they had to eat like things like bark root and things like just stuff that just grows in swamps that has no nutritional value.
Yeah.
You have to harvest insects in the air and make mashes of them and roast them.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Sucks.
Dude,
It's just like it's the fucking shittiest life in the world. You spend all day. Not only are you spending all day fucking harvesting bugs and fucking bark root. That's delicious. But then you're most likely to die from inter-tribal conflict. You can only have small tribes. You couldn't support a lot of people on such little food. So you had to walk around in small bands of families, and then they would come across each other and be like, "You're in our territory," and there'd be a fight. It's fucking.
Yeah, the fly sandwiches.
Yeah, it's
Have
fly
you seen
balls.
that?
Fly balls.
Fly balls. That is the craziest thing. They do with mosquitoes too.
Yeah. They take a net and
It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, they use a pot. They take a pot, like a metal pot, and they wing it through the mosquitoes over and over again. They stick to the bottom. They slam into the bottom, and then you do like this with your hands and make a cake of it, and then they fry the cake. They make mosquito hamburgers.
Delicious.
Have you seen it?
Yep. Yes,
You've
I
seen
have.
the
That's what I'm
videos?
talking about. Yeah.
It's so disturbing.
It's a
So
ball of
disturbing.
fucking bug.
Yeah, that part of the world sucks a fat one.
Yeah, I'd move.
Yeah, well, it's because that's what it is. It's like they don't know what the fuck to do, man.
Sam Sheridan lived with the Inuit, and he was like, all you do is you're going to eat meat and seal. If you didn't catch a seal that winter, you were living in the dark for 8 months.
How long did Sam live with them for?
For like I think a week or something. He's writing his book 2 weeks. But he said everything's a refrigerator, right? So you got he wore these wolf mittens, these wolf fur mittens, and you just would leave them outside. They weren't cured. You just leave them outside. So when you actually skin an animal, you can actually wear the fur without curing it or worrying about it. But like you're always. He said, "Well, you guys are really a master fisherman and stuff." And the woman goes, "We used to starve to death all the time."
Starved.
We would end up trying to kill our dogs to eat. But the problem is you couldn't kill too many dogs because then the bears would come and kill you. So you were just always living. So if you didn't get one seal, that you were done for the winter because you didn't have oil to burn. So you were living. Remember, it's dark 24/7 sometimes for 4 months of the year, 5 months of the year. You're living in the dark, eating raw fish in your igloo. Okay. Yeah. That's what it was like. Can't see anything, so you're not going anywhere. Oh, you have no fire. You're staying in your igloo, and you're hoping you have enough fish.
There's no firewood, right? There's nothing to burn.
No, they would burn. Fucking oil. Yeah.
Jesus.
How's that?
Christ.
And they would line their igloos with like seal fur, but
nothing to keep you warm. There's
Correct.
nothing, just body heat.
Yeah, and they've anatomically evolved so that their hands and feet don't get cold.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
that's freaky, man.
Yeah,
it's freaky to realize that probably only took place over a few thousand years.
Yeah, and they all have frostbite on their faces, on their cheeks.
All of them do.
Yeah.
Whoa.
All frostbitten cheeks.
They just deal with it.
Yeah. Scar tissue.
Scarring all over your face.
Yeah.
From
I
the
mean,
cold.
they would get around on mush sleds. They still do. Now they use snowmobiles, but
He was like, you're on a fucking your dogs, and only I think it's only one species of dog, not huskies. They're a type of husky. The only one dog, about 45, 50 pounds. Those are the only dogs that can survive, that can live in that cold.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah.
What a shit way to live, but what an amazing thing that people are willing to try it.
I think, like anything else, human beings get used to
anything.
When you're in jail forever, you get used to, you figure it out.
Yeah, that's why rich people are fucked. They get used to being rich.
That's right.
They get used
Having
to
everything you
being
want.
lazy. Like kids born rich.
It fucks them up.
I bet it does.
It's called the wealth of handicap of wealth.
Yeah. Do you worry about that with your son? Do you think
Yes.
I got to make sure this little motherfucker
but
starts wrestling practice?
Yes,
develop some discipline.
I was going to say one of the ways out is sports.
Yeah.
And learning how to lose properly and learning how to win,
That's very huge.
It's huge. Sports teach you how tough you're not and how to lose, not just how to win, and mainly teach you how to do things like recognize plateaus.
Yeah.
People always. That's why I always tell young people. I go, look, accomplishment. When you're trying to accomplish something, all you have to do in some ways is have a good teacher so you're practicing correctly and show up every day. And you're going to find periods of time where you just hit plateaus where, I tried to write today and I was like, my head was all over the place. Why? It doesn't matter. The point is I tried to write. You just show up every day, you can take your breaks, of course, but, for the most part, you've got to kind of like familiarize yourself with the peaks, valleys, and plateaus of accomplishment.
Yeah,
if not,
I
you'll
think
run.
One of the things about sports is that the accomplishments are clearly defined. They're very obvious. Have you been successful at getting the ball into the hole?
That's true.
No. If not, why?
Yeah.
Have you been successful at wrestling people? If not, why?
Yeah.
And you either adjust and work accordingly and use your intelligence to sort of figure out whatever puzzle it is, whatever game you're playing and whatever the parameters are, or you don't. It's that simple. Whereas like socially, there's a lot of bullshit and there's a lot of gray area, and you might think you're cool because you listen to the right records and you dress the right way and you live in the right neighborhood, but really not. Really not. Really, you don't have any character because you've never had to test
I was about
it.
to say that. If I was just thinking about it as you were saying that, I think socially, whether or not you're a most entertaining person or not, I really think that a huge way to fix a social issue you may have is just be honest. Like you and I always talk about, like just don't lie, man. Don't lie to your friends. Just be really honest about it. If you're having problems, if you have like an issue, whatever it is, if you're open and upfront about it, and don't take yourself too seriously. If you can do that,
that's hard. That requires a lot of personal assessment, and this goes back to sports or anything, especially martial arts. I've always said the best way to stop bullying is to teach everyone how to fight.
Yeah,
and you know why? Because the big guys won't be bullying if they're actually training and learning how to fight. I don't know good fighters that are bullies. It's much more rare than regular big people who aren't bullies.
That's right.
Regular big people, there's a lot of bullies,
Yeah.
especially if they're like insecure and that's the only thing that they have. Yep. It's like a girl whose personality sucks, but she's got big tits. We're going to see those tits everywhere she goes.
Right.
She's going to make sure she knows where her asset lies.
Personal assessment.
Yeah, and dudes who become bullies, it's like.
What do you think? You just brought up something that's interesting to me, like about the way to stop bullying and teach everybody to fight, which I couldn't agree more with.
It's true.
What would you
100%.
What would you do about this gun issue?
That's a much more complicated issue than just bullying, but I think it could solve I
brought it up because you said, what does it mean? Do you have armed guards? I mean, is that how you stop it? Or what do you?
There's a bunch of issues with the school shooting thing, with any mass shooting. There's a ton of issues involved here, and not in the least of them is the mental state of human beings today. Take medication aside, put it as a variable. I know a lot of people resist that variable, especially people who are proponents of antidepressants, especially people who have enjoyed the effects of antidepressants, because apparently antidepressants can make a lot of people happy, and I'm not disputing that. But there's something going on with the state of mind of a human being who's willing to do something unbelievably horrific to affect a large group of people. That is it's got to be the result of that sort of mass scale destruction. It's like you want to affect people in the most horrific way. This guy who shot children, he wanted to affect people in the most horrific way. Why? We have to get to the root of that. What makes a person do that? You can't do that, okay? You would never do that. Hold on a second. I know you. You would never be a school shooting. You'd never shoot babies. No. So who would shoot babies and why? What the fuck makes a person like that? And that's not the gun issue. No. And that's not a fertilizer bomb issue. And it's not a nuclear issue. Right. It's an issue of humanity. Right. What is it about us where we have failed as a culture so much that even we have one example out of a million like that? How does that happen in a community of people who can read, who are aware of each other's presence? How can you get to a point where you got a guy like that who's willing and able to do something like that?
The question then from that is, I think there have always been what you just described a lot of times. One of the classic definitions of a sociopath, a psychotic sociopath, is they will do something horrific to watch the effect. Mm-hmm. That's how they get power. That's how they get pleasure. And there are a lot of different examples of that. And so psychologists, I read a book called The Sociopath Next Door, where she talks exactly about that. The other issue might be, if we agree that we're always going to have sociopaths, it's an aberration in the gene pool, the culture, whatever, like the guy from Columbine, one kid was suicidal, the other kid had a history of being a sadistic sociopath.
Or another style of it, Bernie Madoff. It's a different style of sociopath.
Exactly. The question becomes, I guess, is there a discussion to be had about how to keep these lethal weapons out of those kind of people's hands? If it's a public health issue, and we can figure out a way to get these people at least monitored or helped in some way, or not, or locked up if they're sociopaths. It seems to me that the variable is the availability of lethal guns. Now, I own guns, so I'm not. I don't really know how to address. I don't know. I don't know how to address.
It's a very interesting point, and I think you'd be silly if you didn't agree with that. The issue is, though, that the National Rifle Association and gun enthusiasts in general are not willing to give any ground whatsoever. And they don't want it anymore because they want to be able to own these guns. They want to be able to go out and buy, like my friend Anthony Cumia. He has a .50 caliber gun. Mm-hmm. That's like you can shoot a hole through a fucking building.
It's in fact against the Geneva Conventions, I believe. You can look it up. You can't use it against personnel because you come apart.
Well, he has one of those. Yeah. Why does he have one of those? Because he's crazy. Yeah. He wants to own it. But I'm not worried about him shooting up anybody. No. He's just a gun enthusiast. Right. And their thoughts are they should be able to be a gun enthusiast. And I agree with that. I agree with that as well. Yeah. If you are a law-abiding citizen who follows rules and regulations and, you're not an insane person, you're not a sociopath. And Anthony's a perfect example of he's not none of those. Right. He's not a bad guy. He just wants to be able to have that gun, and I feel that he should be able to do that. Right. I really do. I mean, as crazy as it sounds.
Well, I mean, I own guns, and I don't want somebody taking my guns away.
I don't want someone telling me how much horsepower my car can have.
Right.
I don't want someone telling me how warm my house can be. Right. I don't want someone telling me, how much fuel you're using. I don't want that. I don't believe that you should be allowed to control very much about other people's lives when it's not affecting you. Right. And, there's the arguments about the use of fossil fuels and using your share and all that. That is not the way to handle that, by stopping people from using things.
It's technology. We've already developed a technology. We're going to have cars that run. My car runs on 50 miles before it needs a gallon.
You have a golf cart. You don't have a car.
It's a dishwasher with wheels.
Manly about that.
It bugs you, doesn't it?
It's terrifying.
He hates my Prius.
There's so much in you that wants to come out.
It's so true.
It would come out with a Shelby GT500. That's what you need to get a hold of. 662 horsepower.
Jesus.
Yeah, baby. With a real V8 sound.
I'll just drive the speed limit.
Just hit the gas.
I'm usually too distracted. I'm thinking.
You want to feel that on your fucking seat.
Yeah.
You say that because you never had one.
Yeah,
trust me. Jesus Christ, son. You trust me? Trust me.
The Shelby, huh?
You trusted me with the yes, get a fucking American muscle car, man. You have to get an automatic. Go get a Challenger SRT8.
Really?
Those beautiful things. Yeah, with a big fucking Hemi in it. They make an automatic for a pussy like you.
Dove David laughs at me. I literally got it because I didn't want to get out of the car as often.
After this.
Diet tribe, you'll go along if you've
This is Ode from the Aspect.
My many tones of diet cost. And if something gets translated lost, again I seek to hide the same, as though we've never stopped our game. And all the tidings I could bring I've never really changed a thing. Dependent on each other, we kept infinite, the you and me. That never really set us free, or too lonely was the place we'd be. But for all I've ever tried to tell you, I just couldn't seem to say how much I care. And speaking as the aspect that befell you, you've come to mean my universe out there. For all the right or wrong I had done, I had to share it with someone. The true, the lie, the in-between, their implications, what they mean. A troubled tale, a trophy turn. Within my heart they'd only burn till the echoes on the acetate reveal what we can all relate. Then freely we can share our pain and know that we are not insane, or at least a frenzy we can know. It's enough for me, I'm not alone. But for all I've ever tried to tell you, I just couldn't seem to say how much I care. And speaking as the aspect that befell you, you've come to mean my universe out there. I stumble to the floor and only then see that I'm climbing. I can fall right up a staircase just as easily as down. 'Cause hope can flip a building on its end, and in the timing needs a hand, or else it lands within the sand without a sound. Chance again to double down, perhaps a way of standing ground for every sin that took a toll, by every rescue of my soul. Each choice I made to turn to you, a thing I had to learn to do. So grateful I could see it through, almost as if you always knew. I choose again to share anew, as if compulsively on cue. More karma for we happy few, whose destinies the devils do. And yet I'm thanking God for you. But for all I've ever tried to tell you, I just couldn't seem to say how much I care. And speaking as the aspect that befell you, you've come to mean my universe out there. Searching for the dawn until it's we who are both shining.
Oh boy!
Thank
New
you,
favorite in the
Carolla.
clubhouse, John Popper.
Thank you.
Oh, so powerful.
That's a cover of a Lou Reed song.
Did you get